The film obviously skewers Indian politicians and the media. I'm wondering how realistic the caricatures presented in Peeply Live of the corrupt politicians and the sensationalist media are, and
or the administration for that matter, the district magistrate or the block development officer. Yeah, well, actually, I have to say that in my opinion, it's a fairly accurate portrayal of what happens. Having said that, I'd like to point out as well that it's not the only point of view. So a satire takes one point of view, and so it's not a 360-degree view of politics or the people in media or administration. So in my opinion, there are a lot of people in the administration, civil servants or media persons or politicians who are in fact trying to do a lot of good work and are very positive in their approach.
One of them is the young journalist who is very hopeful in the film, and I'm wondering if he is sort of a symbol of India's young journalists.
You're talking of Rakesh, yeah. Well, in fact, the only character in the film who really has a conscience is Rakesh, as it turns out. Yeah, but what I was saying earlier is actually that while what is shown in the film is fairly accurate and stuff like this happens every day in India, so it's a fairly good window into rural life in India. But at the same time, I'd like to add that, in my opinion, a satire takes one point of view. So, of course, there are journalists who are doing great work, and of course, there are politicians, some of them who are doing good work and are really sincere in trying to do good stuff. And but that point of view is not shown in this film. This film takes a satirical point of view. So, while what is shown is accurate, it is one aspect of it and not the whole.
Tell us about the actors in the film, just in terms of the fact that there were no big name stars, and many of the actors were theatre actors. How were they recruited, and also were there non-actors who were recruited to play the role of villagers?
Well, I'm really happy with the casting that Anusha and her husband Mahmood has done. Mahmood is also the casting director and the co-director on the film with Anusha. They really chose to go real with the casting, in which I completely supported. A lot of the actors are actually villagers and tribals who are from central India, and a lot of them are part of a theatre group called Naya Theatre. And Naya Theatre was a theatre group which was started and run by Habib Tanveer, who was this really amazing theatre personality who's worked in India in theatre for all his life actually. Unfortunately, he passed away 6 months ago. But he was running this theatre group in which he worked only with people from villages and Adivasis, tribals from the area of central India. And they did all kinds of stuff. They've done amazing plays. They've done Shakespeare. They've adapted Shakespeare into the local languages, into the dialects. And so it's a combination of folk art and Habib Saab is a great teacher to have. So a lot of them are very well-trained actors. They may have never acted in a film before, but they come from a strong theatre background, I feel. So I think the casting of this film, I think Anusha and Mahmood also wanted that there shouldn't be any known faces really, so that it all looks real. And so all the cast is actually most of the cast is from a rural background.
One of the most interesting and amusing characters in Peeply Live is that of Natha's elderly mother, and she's played by a very interesting woman who's also happens to be a very talented radio playwright and actor, I understand, and an Urdu scholar. How did you find her, and why was she picked to play the role in that film?
Well, that particular casting took us really long to find, because the character that Anusha had written of Amma, who's the lead character, Natha's mother, and she's this cranky old woman who's constantly cursing people, and the casting for that took really long because we couldn't find an actress of that age group who was as sharp and as venomous, if I can use that word. And so we were really happy to come across Amma, Jafar Appa, who actually is from Lucknow, and she used to be in All India Radio. And she did a film years ago called Umrao Jan, which Muzaffar Ali had directed. So she's an amazing person. She's an amazing personality, and I think she's really pulled off the character of Amma really well.
There's also an elderly farmer in the film who sort of silently toils throughout, who appears in various parts of the film, doesn't say much, and I'm wondering if he is sort of a metaphor for the typical Indian farmer who's ignored and silenced.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, Hori really stands for a whole lot of people who very, in a very sincere and in a very uncomplaining manner, try to deal with what is dealt out to them in life, and don't really even have a voice in what's happening around them, and are almost invisible to us, and that's how he's treated in most of the film. So he represents that entire section of people, yeah.
I want to talk about the film's music, which was, is already being listened to in India, and I understand was a little bit of a controversy from one of the songs in the film, probably the most interesting song in the film, Mehengai Dayan, which is played in the film by the villagers of Pipli, and it was recently some local politicians, I understand, wanted to use it for their campaigning.
Well, what is shown in the film is happening in real life, I guess. So this song is actually a song, Mehengai Dayan. The words are, my husband earns a lot of money, but inflation that which eats it all away. And it's actually a song that wasn't really in the film to begin with. And it was a song that Anusha, while she was shooting in the village in Badwai, she heard the local musicians singing the song. And this is a song that they had made for themselves, and it's part of their music. And when she heard the song, she really liked it. So this is actually their voice, and she asked them to, if she could use it in the film. And she got Raghu Bhai, who's also a very good singer, to actually learn the song. He's one of the lead characters in the film, and to learn the song and sing it. So they actually shot the song that night, in the village under the tree. And it's recorded live on location. It's not recorded in a studio with spoons and thalis and like homemade musical instruments. And that's a song which actually has resonated really strongly with a lot of India, because it's a coincidence at the time that we were about to release the music of the film, and in fact we had just started the promotion of the music of the film. Exactly at that time there were these huge price rises in India, and the opposition parties called for a national bandh, which means a kind of a strike or a close down for a day all across the country, and in protest for against these price rises. And that day the news was full of the song, because all of the news channels actually carried the song as an anthem of what is happening around us. And so it's something that happened, it's a coincidence that it happened, but that got a lot of popularity to the song. And I think that what's amazing is that this is a song that hasn't been created by Anusha for her film. It's a song that has been created by the villagers, as part of their lives. This is what their thoughts are. This is their voice, which we can hear.